It's not happening, people. We're not doing
What
it.
you gonna do? You can't stop me.
Man, I'm gonna be down there catching every coin. Like nothing's gonna hit the ground before I get it. I'm gonna be on a parachute just going through getting it out. Give me that.
All right, church. Last week you brought y'all off with a good word from the pastor, understand me? Told us how we need to prove your faith, understand me? Tonight's episode, we're back with the pimp, aka the presidential intellectual, masculine and perceive, and the protege, understand me? Another episode with the pimp and the protege, dope discussions, understand me? We go deep dive into, can we all just get along, church? It's a bunch of trials and tribulations amongst us. Like it's a battle of the sexes going on. We don't, pimp, I don't really have problems like that no more, you understand me? But I don't know what project got going on, but
Listen.
my pimp game tight, understand me?
First of all, we have to acknowledge the fact that my absolutely handsome brother and I both share our zodiac sign. So as we approach the topic on tonight, we want you guys to know that this topic is meaty and it's downright just it's really full of content that is based upon our belief. And I have the female perspective, and my handsome brother here has the male perspective of this.
I don't even say male.
See, he wants to just be a masculine person all the time. He doesn't want to just absorb the fact that you're a man. You have kahunas and you're a guy. You're a guy, man. You are a man. What do you want to be? What is it? Tell the people.
I want to be a godlike individual. The word said to be like Jesus. And from my perspective, understand me, for the past 5 or 6 years, understand me, of processing, living, leading, guiding, and directing this ship, understand me, that man plus masculinity equals God. That's all I'm trying to do.
Okay. We had pre-gaming before the game.
Real simple.
And the pimp seems to feel like that the process,
Don't feel like I know like.
The pimp seems to feel like his strategy is the strategy that works all the time. If you don't stray from the process, then it just works.
Guaranteed.
And I have a perspective that is a little more, a little more broken down than just get straight to the meat of things. I feel like you have to meet people where they are. And the pimp feels like either get on or get gone, or his strategy is straight cutthroat.
Everything is still free game. Everybody got free will. But this is how it works. You need to measure yourself and you need to measure your life results. So you need to assess what you got and what you don't got and be honest with yourself. And really assess, do you really have what you want out of life? If the answer is yes, then by all means, carry on. Don't take no advice from nobody. You're on the right path.
But how does a person measure that? Like, how do you measure if you really have what you want out of life? How do you know that you want more?
Well, we like to say instincts, but some people's instincts are off, so they never had a good baseline. So I would say this, right? I think we can put like social media, use social media as an example, right? There's a certain frequency and a cadence to how people post on social media that kind of illustrates whether they're actually getting what they really want out of life. If people are already constantly speaking of the perspective of the opposite sex ain't shit, or the opposite sex, or everybody's the problem except for me, those people are the ones who need the most work. Because when I went on my walk, when I first came into this, I had the perspective of, not to say that everybody else was wrong, but I really had the perspective of, the game is messed up for us. Women have an unfair advantage, so to speak, for as how the game goes between men and women.
How so?
Well, everything in society is, I wouldn't say everything, but yeah, I would say everything. Most things in society are set up. Like, I'll give an example of Cardi B was Woman of the Year, but she went on record saying she drugged men and robbed them, but she was actually able to be Woman of the Year. And even a man who claimed to be a woman was also Woman of the Year, even though he's not really even a woman. So there's certain contingencies in place to protect all things feminine, and that's okay. Femininity should be protected, but there's a difference between being protected, being eligible for protection, and being worthy of protection and just getting it by default. So we got to a stance where women are expected to be protected even though they're not really worthy of protection. The only women that are really worthy of protection are wives. Wow. Every other woman out here is free game. If you ain't got no husband.
So single women, single baby mamas, all y'all, you should be beaten and thrown to the dogs.
I wouldn't say beaten, but you run the risk of being beaten. There's nobody, but only man is really obligated to protect you is your husband. The other man's obligated to protect you.
So you mean to tell me there's an old lady at the grocery store? She's a widow. He's dead. He's gone. You see her getting jacked. Some hoodlum runs up, grabs her bag. He's ready, but she's a tough old lady, and she's holding on to her bag for dear life, and you see it. Be like, oh, that old bat don't deserve my help. I'm finna go on in the grocery store to have 9. Get out my way.
No. I mean, I would help that person and say, well, I will help a whole man in that scenario. If I see somebody can't help for themselves, see, masculinity is about, I'm going to help people by default. But whether you worthy of my help is a different story. Just because you're not worthy of it don't mean you're not going to get it. It's like I just really illustrated that earlier. There's plenty of women who ain't worthy of protection who still get it.
Okay.
They didn't do anything at all to earn it, but society still demands that they get it.
Don't you are my knight in shining armor.
In spite of them not doing anything in particular to get it. And most women, this is the craziest part about all this, right? And this is what men, and especially men, need to understand. Men, you have to go earn your value. Women are born with their value. Most women, let's just cut to the chase, right? Most women who are actually deemed quote unquote valuable or influenced even within our circle of friends and family on Facebook, right? The women who look the best usually get the most response for as likes and loves and stuff. There are exceptions. There are some women who don't look the part, but they have some clout or personality, and they kind of whatever they, especially from small town Tyler, Texas, which is where we're from. Most people still live off the clout of who they were in high school. Me, on the other hand, I'm living off the clout of who I am right now. See, I get way more engagement and way more response people. You've seen this yourself. I get way more response people in real life than I do on social media.
Yeah.
It's people who on social media get a bunch of likes and a bunch of love. But if they come into the same realm with me outside in real life, they ain't gonna get nothing. I can go outside right now. What I got on, I'm not gonna make it to the club before somebody go stop me and say, "Hey, who are you?" It's just something that's on me now. You seen that with your own eyes.
Okay, I'll give you a little Cujo points for that. Whatever. But the point that I feel like that most definitely needs to be made in our topic of discussion tonight is that
the thing of the show, can we all get along, right? So how do we accomplish the task of us doing this instead of doing this?
Okay, well, I see what you're saying, but society has pushed a narrative on people, you know, to where if one don't do it, another one will, or you know, if he ain't gonna do it, then fine, you know, do it yourself. And you know, one way to make sure it gets done right is do it on your own, you know. And does that not apply to the man and the woman? Like, is it fair to say that a single woman shouldn't thrive and be as vested in herself as a single man?
Well, she should be a sustained human being, especially nowadays, and she should have value. But it's a difference between a woman who plans to stay single her whole life and a woman who plans to have a husband. So there's a slippery slope. There's a delicate balance you have to, and that's something you have to take on as a woman if you decide to engage in quote unquote corporate America and go get the bag. There's certain stipulations and certain things and certain ways you got to move when you're at home that you can't move. You're not gonna move the same way if you like.
You can't be a boss at home, man, at the job.
If you may be in a leadership position which demands a certain level of masculinity from you while you're at work, right? You gotta learn how to turn that off at home. That's the sacrifice you have to make as a woman when you decide to have a career. You can't have everything.
Okay, so why does the man get to be the boss at work and the boss at home?
That's just how God designed it. Women ain't designed to really be working like that anyway. Women are supposed to be nurturing and mentor the kids.
Yes, absolutely. So how do we get the woman back at home and nurturing? How do we get the woman out of the boss mode and back at home and nurturing? That's the key.
Men have to get themselves in better financial positions to sustain that. That's number one.
Okay, how?
They gotta get better skill sets. Me personally, what I did was I went to school for 8 to 9 months and slept in my car for 8 to 9 months, and I grinded out, and I got myself in a position where I went from homeless to $100,000, and that's where we can film this show in this nice establishment we have right now.
Right. Okay.
I made some sacrifices.
So basically, a lot of people are afraid to do that. Like, a lot of people are afraid to just be like, I'll just say it, assed out until they get where they want to be. It's like, okay, we hear on social media all the time where girls are bagging on the guys that do the homeless thing. Like, he don't really want a relationship, he homeless, he needs somewhere to stay.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So if a guy has an option to either sleep at the bus station or to get some weird broad who is desperate and thirsty for any kind of attention, would he rather go sleep in the warm comforts of her bosom, or would he rather sleep at the bus station?
You know, I say this. I did some of that myself. I had some women that I really didn't like that I spent the night over there a couple times. I stayed longer than I probably should have, but I had to get myself out of there eventually. But long story short is that, number one, all those women were compensated for that, number one. Number two, they wanted what I wanted, so once I put myself in a position where I got what I wanted, I moved around. So that's a stopgap for a man. I would say that.
Whoa.
I would say.
You said you compensated them for the time that basically, you kind of just like. Because see, what I gathered from those situations with you was that those women genuinely had interest in you. And it was unfortunate that you did not share that feeling. And you just kind of paved your way out of it and just dipped.
Hey, it is what it is, man. Casualties of war, man. You gotta break a few eggs.
Ladies, do y'all hear that?
And I was still simping at the
time. You will be a casualty, ladies. You will be sacrificed on the front line by a man who is attempting to achieve his absolute success if you are not aware of it. Right. Meaning, stop trying to build a bear.
No, the thing is, my only option should have been just sleeping in my truck.
Just to thug it out.
Mm-hmm. But I had, even when I was thugging it out, that option was still there. I just made the decision I didn't want to do it no more.
Right.
So that option, even when
and that's when your glory came in. Right. When you eliminated that stuff, that's when the glory and the doors and gates and the floods started to open up, when you stopped simping.
Right. So I was still simping at the time. So me going through that and understanding and getting on the other side of it, then I can get in my pants.
Right. And see, this is the meat of things that people need in order to get the substance to understand where a lot of people are in denial, pimp. A lot of people are in denial because they don't understand that you are simping. This man just sat here and told you that he literally paid his way out of relationships with people because in those women's minds, they were in a relationship. But in his mind, look, I just don't want to sleep in the truck tonight, so I'm going to pay you to stay here tonight or whatever until I get myself in a better situation. See, the way of these things is not always easy, people, and people don't want to go through the struggle that it takes to get the success that you are seeking. So you try to validate yourself through likes, through taking good pictures, going on trips, trying to self-satisfy, and in all reality, you come back to the lights off, you need $4 for gas, like, the level of success that you portray is not your reality. What you seek is not your reality. And it leaves you to question yourself if you are truly intent on seeking value in a spouse, right? Mm-hmm. It absolutely leaves you to question yourself, what is it that I actually deserve in a spouse? Like, do I deserve a 6-figure man? Am I a quality woman? Am I a woman who's prepared to be a wife and be submissive and understanding and loyal and, attentive to this man's every need, every desire? And if you know that you're a selfish little wench, why put yourself in that situation? If you know that you are not prepared to make sacrifices to be in a relationship with another person, man or woman, why put yourself in that situation? Like,
people don't know they're not ready.
Yes, they do.
No, they don't.
They know that they don't have the 3
they think they're ready.
Bare minimums you must have to even date. I just spoke of this. To even date, you must have the 3 minimum items. That is a house, a car, and a job. If you are missing either of the 3, you are not available to date. Period. You're not available to date. You are not self-sufficient. You do not have any stability. You have nothing to offer anyone else of substance. I'm sorry. And the fact that you haven't realized that for yourself, that you are sleeping, at someone else's house, that you are driving someone else's car, and the fact that your job, or if you even have a job, is just not cutting it, if you can't realize that for yourself, that you need to do more, have more, you got to have all three, not just one of the three, two of the three. You got to have all three in order to date. Stop wasting people's time. And then you have the people on social media who do all the big wolfing and talking, and they like talking off the Wi-Fi at their grandmama's house. You know, like, come on, let's get it together. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't even have a valid point to speak on, but then you'll have a million comments under your post. You know what I'm saying? Saying, yeah, I agree, I totally get it. And they have no idea that you're at Mickey D's, checked in on the Wi-Fi, making this random post because you don't have the ability to even go home, lay in the comfort of your own bed, and make a post. And the fact of the matter is, you can't really tell me or the pimp anything about it because we've both been in some pretty delicate situations, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, we get it, we know it, we've lived it, we've been there. Like, we grew up together. The leaky house where it rained outside and on the inside, we lived there together. Like, this is my blood brother. So the experiences that he had, I too shared. And what's crazy about it is his path and my path are a lot different. He's 40 in a few days and has no children, you know, has went through life with very minimal life, you know what I'm saying, life-threatening or life-altering situations, whereas my life has been extremely challenging. Like, I've literally been in situations that were so unpredictable to where I had to call on my brother for understanding and, you know, ability to figure stuff out, to get it together. So, literally, people have to accept your reality. You know, you got to accept where you are right now in order to move forward. And I feel like a lot of the Facebook bullies, trolls, and what is it, anthropologists? Is that what you call them? The ones who,
I ain't never heard they word.
it's like the people who are so in depth and in tune with studies and diagnostics of situations in life stuff. Like, they study this stuff.
Study what?
Life and topics in general, and they feel like they got a master's degree in relationships. You know little to nothing. And you're still single, giving the best advice about, it'd be the women giving the best advice about a man, and it'd be the men giving the best advice about a woman, and you have no idea what you're talking about because you yourself are not in a situation to even divulge the information that you're giving. So, I don't know. I've learned through my walk in life, you know, that I just gotta stay in tune with what I can control and what I am aware of, and that's femininity. For the pimp, it's masculinity. And when I tapped into that, it just kept me focused, grounded, and well-rounded. And like, the people and stuff in my life has become, it's kind of crazy these days on how life is moving just because of that. Like, I'm not where I want to be, but I'm making my way closer to it because of the fact that I ain't trying to tell no man how to be a man. That ain't my job, you know? It's just not my job. If I got to give you play-by-play instructions, you already lost. What say you?
I heard you ramble for a minute, but let me give some context to everything.
This guy says ramble. I gave it in the language that people can understand. You want to give a format that is like the damn Webster's Dictionary, and people have to have it where they can understand it, you know? They have to.
I gave it to you how I give it to everybody else. I gave it to my other relatives the way I gave it to everybody else. Both of y'all got the results. Who's the person who's wrong? The person who's receiving it or the person who's giving it? You got it. He got it.
Okay, but that doesn't work for everyone else. Everyone
else
is not as closely connected to you.
You know the people it didn't work for? The people who didn't do it.
Okay.
Everyone who did it worked.
Okay. You feel like your strategy works for everyone. I feel like it worked.
It works
for me,
it works
and
for
it worked for him because we were closely connected to you. Everyone in the universe is not closely connected to the energy, to the advice, to the everyday motivation, to the everyday understanding.
So what I'm saying is,
so how do you save those souls?
I ain't gonna better say they're going to figure out how to save themselves, but I can give them information. They can decide if it's valuable or not to them, right? So number one, people trust information from people who got clout. So right now, this is the purpose of the show, right? We got to get enough clout to where people listen to us. We don't got enough clout right now. The reason why people don't want to listen to me, or the reason why people that did listen to me, because to y'all, I was a source of validity. I was a reputable source because y'all seen my walk, y'all seen my progression, y'all know what I've accomplished, right? He's seen it firsthand. You seen it firsthand. You benefited from it. He benefited from it, right? And anybody else that's in that circle and helped and took the advice and applied it, they also seen their progress. The issue is the people who don't take my advice at this point in time don't feel like my advice is valid because they don't see the notoriety, nor do they see the validity, nor do they think that my success is big enough. So only way it's gonna fix that, we gotta become millionaires. Once we are a millionaire, once I'm a millionaire and we throw $1 million out of a helicopter at Willard Park, they go out to listen to me.
Yeah, we're not doing that. We're not giving y'all 1 red cent. Listen, that's not happening.
I'm gonna do it.
Juneteenth will still go on without the blimp that says the world is ours, throwing out millions of ones.
I'm gonna throw $1 million out of a helicopter.
No, it's not. I'm telling you
in
now.
Willard Park on Juneteenth.
It's not happening, people. We're not doing it.
What you gonna do? You can't stop me.
Man, I'm gonna be down there catching every coin. Like nothing's gonna hit the ground before I get it. I'm gonna be in a parachute just going through getting it out. Give me that. Because they were all haters anyway. I don't know why.
I want to save the haters too. See,
No,
thing. I want to save all of them.
Listen.
I want you to hate so much, and you go out. I want the haters to be like, you know what? He was right. He literally threw $1 million out of a helicopter because he said he was going to do it, and I couldn't do nothing to stop it.
If we don't live
and,
to see the day.
and the thing is I'm hating, but I'm still gonna grab them. I'm gonna still go grab them hundreds.
Listen, if we don't live to see the day where you throw that money out of a helicopter, the people of East Texas are gonna forever remember the fact that you said you were gonna do it and it never got done. Right. So I assure you, people, when this man says he's gonna do something, he says he usually gets it done. So I guess he's manifesting a blimp at $1 million. Juneteenth coming soon. You know, it's a tough subject. It's easy for us to discuss because we are bloodline and we can give content back and forth. He believes his perspective is righteous. I believe my perspective is grounded. So we share and we bounce off each other. If you haven't already, go like, share, subscribe. Survival of the Simp. I mean, every week we do our best to give the best content of realistic things. Most times we have the pastor in his absence tonight. Salute to you, pastor. Tonight, you know, it was just a fresh break again for the pimp and the protege, myself. You know, to come back and give y'all some just real content. You know, this
we all just get along.
We want to get along. Men and women should be able to get along. There is so much controversy between the two.
I mean, we'll get into it on the next episode, I think. But most people, they just are oblivious to their actions. And most of these people are good people, right? They accomplished some success in their lives, and they have done some things in notoriety, but they are absolutely oblivious to understanding how to get what they really want.
Right.
I think next episode we go really tap into that. Okay, we talked about the fact that we don't get along, so how are we going to solve the problem? How do you really get what you want? Like, we will assess the problem that you don't really have what you want. So we gonna give y'all some game next episode. How you actually get what you want. Understand me? Survival of the Simp. We out this thing, church.